Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk today about a little-known gun law that probably exists in your state. You probably don't know much about it, but I'm going to tell you right now, it may be perhaps the most important gun law your state has. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because I believe that law is going to be under significant, and I mean significant, attack over the next couple of years, especially if you live in a state that happens to be shaded blue. I'm talking about your state preemption law and the upcoming attack, because if you just are out there and you read the tea leaves and you see what's going on, you kind of try to figure out where the trends are, you can see that exactly those that are in favor of civilian disarmament, or one of the other many methods they're going to use to get to your rights, is they're going to try to do away with your state preemption law. So today, let's spend a few minutes, let's geek out, let's get you educated, and let's talk about your state's most important gun law and why they want to repeal it. Okay, so the inspiration for this story was a story on ammoland.com. Check them out at the link right there. It had to deal with a mayor in Michigan who is before the Michigan State Legislature screaming bloody murder. She had a shooting occur in her municipality, and she believes that had she been able to pass her own gun laws, well, she would have been able to save lives. What I'm talking about is state preemption laws. State preemption laws are a law that basically says, hey, the state legislature, and only the state legislature, gets to set the gun laws throughout the state. Now, I get that some of you may hate what your state legislature does, Washington included, but can you imagine if you allowed the lunatics in some of your local municipalities and county councils to also start setting additional gun restrictions? And what state preemption laws do is prevents that from occurring. Here's what else it prevents, and this is very, very important for states that don't have state preemption laws, is that if you allow local control of all gun laws, then obviously those gun laws will shift by political jurisdiction. In the end, you end up with this great tapestry of all sorts of different gun laws, where if you have the audacity to try to drive across your state, you may be going from legal carrying to illegal to legal to illegal and back and forth, depending on what political jurisdiction you happen to be at that current time. And let us also remember that gun laws appear to be a horrible moving target already, thus giving the reason to have Washington Gun Law on YouTube. But can you imagine if now you're trying to keep track of all your local, county, and city gun laws, in addition to what's happening on a statewide level and what's happening on the federal level? Now, as I mentioned before, almost every state in the country has some form of a state preemption law. There is a short list of states who do not have state preemption laws, and they are the usual suspects and include California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York. Nebraska, why are you on the list with the rest of those states? But I digress. Here's the other important thing about state preemption laws. In addition to bringing all the uniformity to gun codes around your state, they also provide a great incentive for local officials not to step on or squelch your constitutional rights. Florida's state preemption law, for example, says that if you're a local official who passes an unconstitutional gun law, which is later struck down, you can be fined up to $5,000 and subject to removal from office. Nevada has a state preemption law that says if you successfully challenge a local gun ordinance, you are entitled to all of your attorney's fees back ×3, treble damages. Pennsylvania at one point had a state preemption law that said if you successfully challenged a local gun law, you were entitled to all of your attorney's fees back, plus any punitive damages if you could establish it. But you see, every time some jurisdiction is inflicted with some horrible incident of gun violence, what the mayor or the county council or any of those local representatives will say is, you know, we need to do away with state preemption laws because we here on the local level, we understand what it takes to save lives. And if you just took the chains off of us, we could turn around and start saving lives through additional gun legislation. Now, that's a fantastic argument if we believe in one premise, and that premise is that the gun laws that are currently being passed around the country actually save lives. But that's not the case, because the gun laws that are being passed on the state level, and you know the gun laws that will be passed on the local level, do nothing more than disarm you, the lawful and responsible gun-owning American. But here's the other thing that is a little concerning, is there a constitutional right in your state to have a preemption law? And if so, is there any historical analog going all the way back to the formulation of our country that shows that states had preemptive status? And the answer to that is unfortunately no, because most state preemption laws were a more modern creation that started being passed in the late 1990s. Listen, there's enough governmental bureaucracy already involved in us trying to lawfully obtain a firearm. If your state preemption laws are repealed, trust me, there will be an entire additional layer, a very thick layer of local bureaucracy that you will need to weed through as well. State preemption laws are some of the most important gun laws that your state may have, and even though you may not like what your state does with your gun rights, trust me, you're going to hate it a lot more when you let your cities and counties start determining what guns you should or should not have. Listen, we'll link up some more information down below so that if you guys want to geek out on state preemption laws, you can do so. Please pay very careful attention to your state legislature. Washington State, you know about House Bill 1178. If you are in a state with a state preemption law, you have to carefully watch what's happening in the state legislature. They'll try to slip this thing through, and one day you're going to wake up and your municipality has got a 3-round magazine capacity. If you got any other questions about this, or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information, it's right down there in the description box. Now, in the meantime, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching, and stay safe.